What is up, guys, and welcome to this episode of the Positionless Pod. I am your host, Kai Gamage, and as per usual, I am joined by the brightest, the most talented, the most versatile, the most positionless minds in the NBA media landscape today. Aaron Matthew, Diego San Agustin, and Michael Anthony Cruz. Boys, how's it going?
Good.
Mike, you want to take this one?
I know Mike's feeling good right now.
Yeah, weekend was good, man. Survivor Series.
Oh, yeah?
CM Punk's back.
Huge.
What a surprise, man. What a surprise. As soon as the camera panned out, you just knew something was gonna happen. Because there were already talks like prior to, like, in the lead up to Survivor Series. I mean, even a month before Survivor Series, like, we all knew it was gonna be in Chicago.
Yeah.
Then
Hometown, right?
it happened.
Yeah.
Like, it happened. And
It's
Seth
huge.
Rollins got mad, and
Crazy way to start the pod.
Monday Night Raw later tonight.
Yo, Mike, go tweet about it, bro.
Huh?
Go tweet about it or
Go
something.
tweet about it. We don't need to
I'll
hear
tweet
it.
No, man, I don't know. It's pretty fun, man. I was watching it. I
I
enjoyed
mean, no,
it.
but nobody's answering this segment of the pod.
Yeah,
properly,
I
so
appreciate
might as
Mike
well.
chiming in.
Yeah. How are you?
Yeah, how are you two,
Me?
huh? Yeah, what are you guys up to? See, Mike's got something going on.
Long weekend. Black Friday weekend just passed.
Oh man, did you guys buy anything?
No, but me and Aaron worked in retail, so it's
How was it? Was it a
we
ride?
had it. Yeah, especially if you work at Square One, Mississauga, brother. Never gets old how insane.
Yeah, mine wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess winners.
Thank goodness mine wasn't as bad.
Mine was awful, bro.
No, man, I'm sad. I was gonna buy. Actually, I'm probably gonna go buy a pair of like running shoes after this, just because I need to get something. I feel there's like good deals on nice running shoes at Nike. Could be the move. Trying to get help.
Little winners.
I'm good.
And I have some running shoes for cheap.
I'm all right. I'm okay. All right. What a start. What a way to start, huh? My goodness. I think this is like the first time we've actually had like a little bit of a conversation off the how are you. So, I'll take it. It feels good to be heard. Feels good to actually talk. But yeah, so in this episode, we're about a month into the year, into the NBA season at this point. I think a couple of days off from it being a month. I think it started on the 24th of October. Right now is the 27th. So we're a couple of days off, but fact remains that this season has been a wild one. I think this has been one of the most fun, enjoyable, surprising, disappointing seasons in NBA history for some. It's just been a blast. And we kind of want to just get into our biggest, obviously, surprises and disappointments at this point in the NBA calendar. There's a lot of just interesting stuff that has transpired around the league. Obviously, we've already seen a blockbuster trade like less than a month into the year, which you don't normally see. New teams are kind of taking over at the top. There's been a changing of the guard, maybe, but also older players have just been consistently great throughout the course of this season. I mean, some of them less so than others, Klay Thompson, but it's been a stellar year so far. So we're just gonna get into it. Gonna get into our surprises and disappointments. Everybody's got one of each. Yeah, Aaron, you want to start us off?
Yeah, sure. So, my biggest surprise has been Tyrese Halliburton looking like an MVP candidate, looking like the best guard in the Eastern Conference. I know we all expected him to take a jump, and a jump would be an understatement like a month into the season. He's ranked 4th in PER so far. He's taken the Pacers, who I thought would be a play-in team. He's got them looking like the best offense in the league, and this is while only having a usage rate of 26.5. There's 36 players who rank higher than him in the usage, right? So despite not being as dominant as some of the other guys like Giannis, Embiid, like other MVP candidates, he's still doing so much. Literally 49% of the Pacers field goals are assisted by Tyrese Halliburton. That's how much he's influencing that offense. And on the other hand, he's averaging a cool 25 on 65% true shooting, which is bizarre. Like, it's unheard of. You don't see guards especially be that efficient. Guards who take a lot of threes especially. And he's doing that while having like a, I won't say mediocre, but like it's just a decent supporting cast. Like, there are other MVP candidates who have better players around them, but he just has Buddy Hield, Miles Turner, and that's still good enough to look like the best offense in the league. And I, I'm genuinely impressed by what he's doing, the leadership role, and how he's. I think one of my favorite things about him is when he just trains a disrespectful shot and then skips back to his own half. He's, I don't know, he's so captivating on the court. This is okay. I might be getting too carried away here, but I think he's been my favorite player to watch this season.
To think he's doing it all with that broken jump shot, man. It's wonderful. I mean, look, he's shooting 45% from 3-point range. I mean, the Pacers are, I think, easily one of the most fun teams to watch this year. I mean, I was going into the year kind of already saying that the Pacers were going to be one of those league pass teams, that they were just like, they were going to be fast. Like, the acquisitions of guys like Obi Toppin and Bruce Brown were only going to kind of feed into that speed, that transition offense that the Pacers, especially Halliburton, love to run. But it's been on another level. I mean, this team's just so fun to watch. Their offense is like out of this world. I wish their defense was any good whatsoever, but like if I'm trying to enjoy a game of basketball, if I'm trying to just like sit down and like if I'm a casual, right? And like I sat a casual down, or like we wanted to turn on a game, like that's the game that you should be watching. Like that's the most fun basketball you will see on any given night. It's absolutely wonderful just the way he's conducting that offense, particularly in transition. And it's just like I don't know, he really is, like, I think maybe the best point guard in the league as it stands right now, just like best pure point guard in the league. And he's doing it all with a broken jump shot.
I mean, is it really broken if he's
No,
doing
whatever
that
works,
well?
man. Whatever works. It's just so ugly.
I know it looks horrible. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean the Pacers are just absolutely wonderful right now. What, they're sitting 9-6, good for fifth place in the East. But like every single game is just some of the most interesting basketball you'll watch. Like, sure, they got blown out by what, 50 points against the Celtics, but then they blew out like the Wizards or whatever by 50 points. Like, that's just what you're gonna get. It's a
Yeah.
blast.
I mean, their opponents were the Celtics and the Wizards, respectively.
I mean, this Pacers team. I saw like a tweet one day. Like it's like the Phoenix Suns 7 seconds or less on steroids.
Yeah.
Like, and the numbers back them up. Like they're on pace to have the best offensive rating in NBA history. Well, that's just gonna keep on breaking every single year with the offense just running. But still, you didn't expect them to have a much better offense than what the Kings put up last season, right? And they're number one across the board across many offensive statistics. On the flip side, this team just doesn't care about defense. Like they're 29th in the league in defensive rating. Uh, one of the worst teams in defending the three or whatever. But who cares, man? It's basketball. This team just wants to you know have fun, play offense, and if this is the recipe for success for them this season, then it's a step in the right direction for them. Because They haven't been in the playoffs for the last couple of years. They're rebuilding. They've been rebuilding, and just enjoy this season of development for Tyrese Halliburton. Like,
Yeah.
figure it out next year or two on how to address the defense, because at this point you just want to get to the playoffs in whatever way you can.
Yeah, it's clear that he's taken the leap, and like, I don't know. I think one of the biggest things to me was that like when they got Bruce Brown, I was like, okay, is Bruce Brown like he's obviously a good player. I liked him when he was on the Nets. I liked the addition of him in Denver. Obviously, it just fits so well. But what Jokic does is just elevate guys to another level, right? I was curious as to whether or not his numbers would go back to like the Nets type of numbers, right? Because he's not playing with Jokic. Like we see that kind of issue when guys leave the Spurs or guys leave the Heat, and we're seeing that when guys maybe like leave the Nuggets just because of how much Jokic sets them up for success. But Tyrese Halliburton is that caliber of playmaker, right? Like he's that caliber of like, he makes sure guys get good shots. Like we're talking about the team that has the highest pace in the league, the highest true shooting in the league, the highest effective field goal rating like percentage in the league, right? Like they get buckets. Tyrese Halliburton is steering every single part of this team. But yeah, he's been a blast. Huge surprise. Diego, you want to hit us up next?
My biggest surprise.
Yeah.
Okay, so my biggest surprise this season. I know we talked about the Suns and how the big three haven't played even a single game yet so far. But my biggest surprise this season is honestly Kevin Durant, because Kevin Wayne Durant has been playing like this is some of the best basketball he's ever played in his whole career. And this is coming from a guy who's followed KD for his whole career. Like what he's doing this season is just absolutely insane. He's one of the 4 players averaging 35 and 5, which obviously is like Embiid and Luca are in that list, and it's also going to be SGA and Kevin Durant. And I think the most surprising thing to me is Kevin Durant's 3-point percentage, because he is currently leading the league in 3-point percentage. Like minimum, I don't know how many shot attempts it was, but I saw it like earlier today.
Yeah.
But man, it's just ridiculous. And most of this is without playing with Devin Booker or Bradley Beal as well. So yeah, what he's doing at age 35 is just absolutely insane.
Yeah, I mean he's shooting like 52% from 3-point range right now, right? I mean like his splits are 53, 52, 89. Like
It's
that's
disgusting.
unheard of, right? And it's not on like some low production. It's not on like some low shot attempts per game. We're talking about Kevin Durant here. He's just so efficient. It's absurd. And like obviously he is currently out right now, but what he's done in the absence of Beal and Booker is magnificent, right? Like we figured that with the lack of depth that was kind of on this Suns team, once like one or two of these guys get struck by injury, because these are 3 injury prone players, once one or two of them get struck by injury, it's going to be a tough road, particularly in the regular season. But right now, they're sitting third in the West with like an 11-6 record, right? Like there's no problems. The team is humming, and like it feels. What's interesting to me is like they feel like quiet wins. Like I didn't take in that they're sitting third in the West until
Yeah.
I looked at the standings like yesterday, and I was like, wait a minute, like everyone's kind of focused on how good teams like the Thunder or like the T Wolves or the Dallas Mavericks have been, or like how the Denver Nuggets have been a little bit shifty as of late. But like the Suns are just quietly in third in the West, right? And like obviously part of that narrative is because we haven't seen the big three play together. But I think another big part of it is just like, dude, he's just an assassin. Like this is kind of just what you maybe expect from KD, and he's just doing it at the highest level he's done it. It's absurd.
Yeah. I don't know how he's doing it at this age. And you still have to consider the fact that he came off an Achilles tear a few years ago. And he's still playing at this level. It's absolutely insane.
I was just gonna say that uh when you mention the 3-point percentage leading, like he's leading the league, usually it's guys like Luke Kennard and other role players who lead the league in that that stat, because they are the ones who get those easy catch and shoot looks. But Kevin Durant creates his own shot, and to lead the league while doing that, I think Like you have to consider that as well, and that just makes it even more crazier. Like he's in the league, he's averaging the most points per game on 65 plus true shooting. It's him at number 1 at 31.4 points per game. Steph is second, 29.7, and third is my guy Halliburton. But it's just like aside from those couple games where LeBron outclassed him, uh he's been great. He's been great. And
No,
it's disrespectful that he's not on the MVP ladders like higher, because like Diego mentioned, Devin Booker and Bradley Beal have barely played, and the MVP rankings are not considering how much of an impact KD has had on the Suns being third in the West.
Yeah, and
yeah,
like I don't know.
the
Sorry.
Suns were cooked after like Booker and Beal were out for so long, and like Booker's been in and out for pretty much all season. Like I thought the Suns were cooked. I thought they weren't going to be a good team, but like Kevin Durant has kept them afloat, and it's been really impressive.
No, I mean they're absolutely terrifying, right? And like we haven't even seen it yet. We haven't even seen the big three, and that does obviously make me worry that like once the playoffs roll around, like oh well they have enough chemistry, but like I don't even care. Like you have Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, you're fine.
They're
Whatever,
both
man.
they're both so good, man.
I saw what I needed to see last night against the Knicks when it was just Booker, right? Like it's absurd how good these guys are. All
Yeah,
right.
but I gotta give credit to the role players in Phoenix too, though,
Oh yeah,
because they've been balling.
yeah.
Like
No, I mean,
especially Eric Gordon, I owe him such a big apology.
yeah.
In the first like couple games, I remember telling like Mike and Aaron like Eric Gordon is the worst player in the league, bro. Like I did not want to see this guy touching the ball ever. I never want to see him shooting the ball because I think those first two games were pretty rough for him. But like ever since then, like man, he's been cooking.
Yeah.
He's cooking. Eric Gordon is cooking.
Never thought I'd see the day.
Yeah, what the hell?
Yeah. No, I mean like Nurk's been pretty bad. But you know, other than that, pretty good. I like Nasir Little. I like Keita Bates Diop. Like these are all just guys that know their role. Right. And they're just letting those two guys, they're letting Booker and KD just carry the load. And like
Utah's also been pretty disappointing.
what's that?
Utah has also been pretty disappointing. Like Watanabe, not the
Oh, I
Jazz.
was like, oh my god, dude. Relax, slow down. Not the Jeff Green thing again. Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just most of the role players on Phoenix just know exactly what to do, and they're all like really really good hustle guys, and they buy into the system. So
Yeah, they're scary, man. 7-game win streak right now. All right, Mikey.
yeah,
What's your biggest surprise of the season, man?
Biggest surprise of the season? I told you so. I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, I wasn't on record to say it because I was in the Philippines, but somebody was talking that team last time. So my biggest surprise, the Orlando Magic. Man, I told you so. Like this team they finished 20, 29, 28 basically from December onwards last year. So we pretty much knew that they were going to take a leap this season. And obviously you have guys like Paulo Banquero, uh, Franz Wagner, Cole Anthony, Markel Fultz on this team. So this team is pretty stacked when it comes to young players who are on the come up. And as of now, they're sitting second in the East, right? So they're number 2 in the East at 12-5. They're on a heater, 7-game winning streak. They've won 8 of their last 9 games. This included wins over the Celtics, Nuggets, Pacers, and Bucks. So it just shows that they can hang with some of the best teams in the league. They're also one of the best teams at home. They beat the Lakers as well early in the season, if that matters.
Not really.
But yeah, I
Damn.
mean, it's still the Lakers, man. Come on, LeBron, man. And
Yeah,
17 through
exactly.
17 games, they're third in defensive rating. Yeah, through 17 games, they're third in defensive rating. They're fifth in opposing points. They're number one in forcing turnovers. Yeah, I mean, this is a team that's just full of scrappy guys. Franz Wagner is number one in defensive win shares this season. Jalen Suggs, man, I'm so happy that he's finally finding his niche in the NBA, and establishing himself as one of the best defensive guards in the league. So just look at their schedule
Yeah.
this week. They have Washington twice, then Brooklyn. This could very well extend into a 10-game winning streak this week. So it's gonna look even crazier, and we're gonna have to talk about them next week again if they if they keep this up this week, which they probably will, because they're going up against Washington twice. Like, that's two easy wins right there. So I mean, this team just exciting to watch. As much as great as they've been defensively, they're like the anti Pacers. Like, they're one of the worst offensive teams in the league. Uh, so I don't know. Maybe they'll be. There's gonna be a move at the deadline. That they can probably upgrade so they can get better offensively. But yeah, as of now, they've been getting it done on the defensive end. You have to think Jamal Mosley should be one of the favorites for Coach of the Year right now, and Cole Anthony's also putting together a good case for Sixth Man of the Year. So
Is
there's your
he?
Orlando Magic.
He is. He is. He's
Cole
putting up a
Anthony
really good. He's
is.
putting up a really good case, man. 15 points, like 4.7 assists. He's shooting like 43,
Damn.
35. Like he's just putting up a good year. He's the exact offensive kind of spark plug that they need coming off the bench, right?
Yeah,
Like him and Gary Harris, and I think that they should still deal Gary Harris at the deadline. Maybe get like a legitimate piece in return. Like look at a team like Toronto. Go get a defensive guy from there or something, or go get like a I don't know OG Ananobi, something like that. But like who can just shoot the three, get like make their defense even more stout. Like there's a lot of guys that they can make a move for. I want to touch on your Suggs point real quick. He's the best. I'm willing to say he's the best defensive guard in the NBA. Right?
Damn.
Like the stats are backing it up so far. Like he is like the highest rated in defensive rating. He's currently fifth on the ladder and the highest of all the guards in the league. The only people in front of him are Cat. Sorry, Cat. What the hell? What's he doing
Hey,
there?
hey, hey, hey,
Rudy,
that-
Jason Tate, and AD. Well, like yeah, he's been the best defensive guard in the league, I think. So yeah, it's absolutely awesome to see him kind of take that leap. It seems like he's really figuring out what his game is so far, but like he's all dog all the time, right? Like he's such a high energy player. When they demolished, like they absolutely crushed the Raptors. It wasn't even close. Like they mopped them. It was gross what they did. A lot of that was just like Jalen Suggs just kicking their butt, right? And after every single basket, like it's a virtual guarantee that he's gonna be like in the camera flexing and like yelling at it. Because like he's pure energy. He's such a dog. And I've been saying for a while that like every single championship team needs kind of a spark plug, needs like a lightning rod type of guy. So guys like Draymond Green in the past, Kyle Lowry, just absolute dogs. I thought Marcus Smart was exactly that type of guy for Boston. Had they actually, beat the Warriors, but like Suggs is that guy and more, right? Like he is the best defensive guard according to defensive rating in the league. He's blossoming on offense. He's having like a really solid year. I've been liking what he's doing. I think that he's like a solid connective passer. He's obviously not their point guard. He's a great two guard for them, but like I'm happy with him shooting 12, like scoring 12 points a game, 2.7 assists, shooting 43% for the field and 36% from three. Like he wasn't a shooter coming out of college. That's not what he was.
Yeah.
So if he can like stay at a steady 36%, like that's more than enough for this Magic team. And like this is a team that's just clearly figured out their identity, right? And it's because of guys like Suggs. So I think like they've been awesome. They've been incredible. This 7-game win streak has been nuts because it's all against like good teams, man. Like they cooked the Pacers. Like they demolished them. It shouldn't have even been that close. Like the final score was 128-116. Like this is one of those cases of games that the box score is closer than the game actually was, because this was a slaughter. Right? Like we're talking about the best defense going up against the best offense, and the best defense absolutely shut them down. Right? They were up like 42-21 in the first half, in the first quarter. It was vicious. And like wins against the Nuggets, the Celtics, like these are great teams, and they're pulling it off, and they're finally coming into their own, and they're blossoming into just something really stellar. And like it's not even like Paolo and Franz are putting up these otherworldly numbers so far, right? Like we expected them to be like maybe one of the better like offensive duos in the league, and like that's not what we're really seeing so far. But this is a really cohesive unit at the end of the day, and this is like without Wendell Carter too.
Yeah. I think moving forward, the Magic really just need to continue to buy into into the mindset of being one of the top dog defenses in the entire league. And if they do that, then I think they're on the right track, because what we've seen from them defensively so far is, it leaves us a lot of thought for what they could become like in the following years, especially when it comes to Suggs, as we said, who's in his third season and is pretty much all across the board has improved significantly, and just he's become much more mature as well. So you love to see it. And obviously with Paolo and Franz, they still leave a lot to offer, to be honest, offensively, because as you just said, we expected them to be like really, really top the league like offensively as a duo. But I think once they also get better in that aspect, the Magic will be even better too. But yeah, they just got to buy into their defensive identity, because that's who they are and that's who they should be, I think.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of crazy to me that they're actually this bad offensively, considering they have Wagner and Banchero just being the two anchors of their offense. But they've been struggling offensively as well, though Banchero has taken the leap as an outside shooter, which is great to see. But Wagner kind of started the season slow. He isn't as efficient as he was last season. But yeah, I mean this team still does have its flaws as a roster. They still don't have enough floor spacers on the team. Like that's been their weakness heading into the season, right? And it's still showing that they still don't have the kind of 3-point shooting to be like an average offensive team in the NBA. And it seems like as good as Wagner and Banchero are as creators, it still feels like that's something they need. That's why you see Zach Levine being thrown around as a potential destination for this team. Other guys that maybe could be targets of the Magic could be Anthony Simons, maybe could be a good target for Orlando. So I mean, just get like a creator who can start things up offensively in the first unit. So yeah, that if they can get that done, then maybe they'll be better as the season goes along.
I mean, they're already great, right? But yeah, no, like this team's clearly on the come up, and I think it's just a sign of like one of those teams that's ready to take the lead. And like the East is wide open for them, right? Like, I mean, past like the top dogs, like they're not gonna they're not going to beat Boston or like Philly or Milwaukee in the playoffs, most likely. But like, this is clearly a team that's ready to take the leap. And they've got the right core to do it.
Yeah.
All right. So my biggest surprise of the NBA season is just how good this MVP race is going to be. So obviously you have the guys that are always there, right? Like Jokic and Embiid, right? They're going to be in the MVP race as long as they're playing at this level. But I really don't think that it's a certainty that either of them takes home the award this year. I think that there's a lot of teams, and especially if like the Nuggets continue this kind of weird slump that they're in right now, having won like what? Like they're 5-5 in their last 10. They've got losses against the Magic, the Cavs, the Rockets, and like their wins are coming against bad teams like the Pistons and the Spurs, right? So they're kind of slumping. Obviously, Jokic is still putting up godlike numbers, but they're slumping a bit. Embiid, I haven't heard as much from the Philly camp of late, but he's obviously still great. But the rest of this MVP race is really just shaken out in such an interesting way. I mean, I'm looking at Luka Doncic, who's finally kind of establishing like he's been the sneaky pick for years now to kind of win MVP, right? He not even the sneaky pick. He's been a popular pick ahead of the season to win MVP for seasons now. But it seems like because of how good the Mavericks have been, it seems like this really might actually be his chance to snatch it from one of the bigs. But then, like, you look at the rest of this ladder and it's absolutely mind boggling, right? Like, SGA absolutely deserves consideration, right? Anthony Edwards, like De'Aaron Fox, Tyrese Halliburton, Devin Booker, Jason Tatum, Kevin Durant. It is so deep. LeBron James, bro. Like, all of these guys are putting up absurd numbers. The likes of like we haven't seen this many guys put up numbers like this in the past. Like this is ridiculous. And all of these teams are good. Right? Like it's clear how important De'Aaron Fox is to the Sacramento Kings. We talked about it a lot last week. But it's clear how important he is. He's looking absolutely stellar. The Kings are looking like one of the most fun teams in the league. I mean, their passing is out of this world. And obviously that's more a product of the system than just De'Aaron, but De'Aaron's the final piece that makes that system come together. He's the scorer that they need. He's one of the best clutch players in the entire league. Obviously, Shea has just been absurd so far this year. Has the Thunder second place in the West. And I mean, the team is just clicking on all cylinders right now. Him, Chet, we've gone over it, right? SGA has been absolutely stellar. Top of the West, you've got Anthony Edwards and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Ant's been a little inefficient, drawing a fair amount of free throws as well, and just not hitting his shots as well as he'd like to. But it's clear that he's one of the best two-way players in the entire league. And when he's playing well, the Timberwolves are playing well. He absolutely deserves consideration in the MVP race. Then you look at the East, right? You got guys like Jason Tatum playing like Jason Tatum does. He absolutely gave it to the Atlanta Hawks last night, putting up like 34 points, but it was an easy 34 points. He had 18 in the first half, and it just didn't look like there was anything you could do to stop him. He is probably the best wing in the league. Other than like it's between him and KD, right? You still need to consider Giannis in the MVP race. Like it's just guy after guy after guy. And like we're finally getting to that point where these younger players, especially these point guards, are starting to turn into players that look like they could be the face of the league for the next 10 years. Right? Like we're seeing these guys take the next step and they're entering the MVP conversation. And I think that it's made for one of the most interesting MVP conversations in recent years, just because it's always just been the same guys at the top and they're still there. But now there's so many new like entrants into the conversation. And I love it. I think having this many stars in the league that look like legitimate guys that could be the best player on championship teams is always just a good thing for the league. But yeah, it's pretty great. Yeah.
One thing about Luka is I don't think we've seen him come into the season like blazing hot ever before. Like he'd always like kind of play himself into getting back into basketball shape because he like after the offseason he'd come back into the new season like a little out of shape. But right now, like I mean, I think credit does go to him playing, playing for Slovenia in the offseason. So he didn't really have a choice. But yeah, he's coming. He's coming to the season like perfectly fit, ready to go, and he's been hooping. And yeah, he's the Mavericks. We've already we've already talked about them. The Mavericks are a good team.
Yeah.
Shout out to Luca, man. The reason the Mavericks are this good is because Luca has started off hot, and I don't think Luca is going to slow down offensively.
Yeah. I wish he wasn't a sieve on defense, right? But like,
Yeah, he got cooked by the Clippers.
but
He
that's a
got
lot of these
hunted.
guys, right? Like
Like,
that's
I
just
was just smack talking to this guy.
yeah, but like that's just what you're seeing throughout this ladder, right? It's not just like one guy like Jokic just absolutely killing everybody, where like there really is just no chance about anyone else winning it, right? Like it really
Yeah,
is, I think, one of the best races we've seen, just because there's so
that's
many
like,
different.
we've seen guys like Tatum and Luca who've always been in like the MVP race, but they were never going to stand a chance because the three-headed dragon is always
Mhm.
up there at the top three. The bigs, like it just never changed in the last like how many years. But yeah, I feel like now this is the best chance for guys like Luca and Tatum, and now like obviously other guys like Shea
Yeah,
to actually win MVP.
there's just so many guys that are going to split votes this year.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's fun.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited to find out who's gonna win it. It's gonna
It's
be a
kind of
roller.
crazy that KD, LeBron, and Giannis just entered like the MVP ladder.
Yeah,
And no, what
Yeah.
Like it almost feels like the NBA is just so excited about like the new toys that they have. Like you got Tyrese Halliburton, you got Anthony Edwards, Shea just entering the conversation, and these guys just come in like the old heads. Just hey man, we're still here. we
it's
we
not.
still warrant consideration for MVP, and I feel like Giannis is still just gonna keep rising as long as the
It's
Bucks
not an old head,
continue
bro.
to. But he's been in the conversation since like
no,
2018.
Yeah,
That's like 6 years ago.
Yeah.
So I feel like he's just gonna keep rising as long as the Bucks, uh, um, you know, keep improving and just keep dominating as they have over the last couple of weeks. And I mean, it's just so stacked. Like if the MVP conversation is gonna be hard, just think about the All NBA
yeah,
conversation. What's there? There's so many guys
no.
off this list that you know are still gonna warrant consideration for All NBA. So it's gonna be a crazy season.
Yeah, voting for like Western All Star backcourts is going to be impossible. I don't even understand how you put two of those guys as like your
yeah.
starters at that point, man. Um,
One thing's for sure, Shea is first team. I'm telling you right now.
okay. Quickly, Aaron? What's your MVP? Like, who's your MVP pick at this point in the year?
Shay.
Diego,
Yeah, Shea.
Mike. What
What
about you?
did you expect me to say, man?
I gotta go with Luca.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Shea.
Eh,
I'm gonna go with
yeah.
Shea.
Luca's a nice pick.
Yeah, okay.
He'd be my second.
It's a fun one. Okay, all
Yeah.
right. Let's take a quick break, and we'll be back to talk about our biggest disappointments so far this season. All right, and we are back. Let's just get into it. No sense in wasting time here. Aaron, buddy, what's your biggest disappointment from the NBA season so far?
I mean, this might be harsh, but it's the Clippers for me right now. And I know they've won 4 out of their last 5 games, but overall they're 11th in the West. This is a team that we thought would be at least top 6. That's what they had in the preseason rankings, but they've been far from that. I know they've been trying to adjust with James Harden on the team, and recently they look like they have, but again, out of those 4 wins, 2 came against the Spurs, and they also lost to a short-handed Pelicans in that stretch. So I haven't been impressed by this team for the first time since 2016, 2017. Kawhi Leonard has played every single one of the first 15 games of the season, and that has amounted to them not even being over 500. And he himself is struggling. He looks like finally there are signs of him looking washed. Maybe not just yet, but he's been disappointing as well. The coaching's not been great either. And when the initial uh, trade happened for Harden, the whole haul that Philly received, I thought it was bad. And I still think the haul that Philly received is bad, but the players that they traded, the loss of those players impacted the Clippers more, I feel, because they lost a lot of wing depth. Like right now, their wing depth is Terrence Mann and Amir Coffey. That's not going to win you playoff games. It's barely winning you regular season games. And the pedestal that we put Tyloo on, I'm glad we recognize that we shouldn't have, and for good reason. So even though they might be like top 10 now in defense, I think their offense, their heavy ISO offense, still is an issue to me. And I don't know if they figure this out. Like I'm more than happy to be watching their downfall, but this is bad for the super team that they've assembled here.
I couldn't agree more with how awful their offense looks. And Ty Lue just continues to allow them to just always play ISO. Like every time I see Paul George on the court without Kawhi, like he's always just gonna be playing ISO ball. Every possession. You see him dribbling the clock out, ignoring his entire team, ignoring all 4 guys on the team, and he just takes a contested jump shot at the end of the possession. Like, what are we doing? Like, I know Paul George is capable of that, but like, you can't be having him do that this much. It's so ugly. It's just so ugly to look at. Like, it's not enjoyable basketball. Like Ty Lue, figure something out. You have the tools. Sorry. You have the tools. You have the players who are talented enough to actually run a good offense. You have 2 playmakers in Russ and Harden who are capable of creating good plays for the team. And yeah, you could stagger their minutes, of course, but like, what has that amounted to? Absolutely, absolutely nothing. Like the Clippers are a disgrace.
Jeez, jeez, Louise,
Wow.
disgrace.
Wow.
My
Oof.
goodness.
Tyronn Lue, man, like the Harden trade is just so awful. I like, yeah, sure they won 4 in the last 5, but I don't see this team winning a damn thing the entire season. That's for sure.
No, they're too far behind. Like the teams that are good ball movement offenses. Like I'm sorry. I mean, other than the Mavericks, just because you got Luca. But none of these guys are at Luca's level at this point. I mean, look, we're looking at a team that fields 3 of the top 15 guys in like ISO frequency per game, right? Like James Harden for 19.3% of his possessions is running ISO ball. Paul George for 16.4 of his possessions is running ISO ball. Kawhi Leonard for 15.6 of his possessions is running ISO ball. None of these guys are in the top 20 in points per possession in ISO ball, right? Like it doesn't work. None of them are efficient isolation scorers at this point in their career, yet they choose to run it more than any other team. More than like 3 guys. It does not make sense for this to be your mode of operation when it clearly isn't working. And now you've got Russell Westbrook on the bench rotting He stinks coming off the bench. He has been horrendous since he's been moved there. And
except for last game.
I feel bad for him. I feel bad for him because he chose, like, he bit the bullet. He was like, you know what? I'm doing this for my team. Anyone that says he's a selfish player is a moron. That is one of the most selfless guys I've seen in the league. He fully, of his own volition, was like, yeah, I'll go to the bench. I'll make sure that Harden can be the focal point with the ball in his hands for the Clippers starting unit. He's been bad. It hasn't worked. Right? And like it's so ugly. It's just such ugly basketball. Like, I was watching a video about just how incredible Mike Brown's scheme in Sacramento has been so far. Their ball movement is absolutely out of this world. They're obviously taking a lot of pages from like the 2014 and like Beautiful Game Spurs, where it's just super ball movement heavy, right? And everybody's just looking for the best possible shot. It's not about pace. It's not about how quickly you can find that shot. It's about moving the ball around until you can. The Clippers, on the other hand, it's just dribbling the ball until you settle for a shot that just doesn't make sense in the first place. It's ugly. It's boring. Their defense isn't even that good. I, I don't know. There's just nothing enjoyable about the Clippers right now. And when you have that many big names on a team, like, yeah, I'm going to want to tune in, right? It's the opposite of the Pacers, where it's just like there's one big name, but I want to tune in for every single game. For the Clippers, even though you have all these big name guys, I don't want to watch a second of your team. It's just bad.
Unethical basketball.
Yeah. Thank you.
And bro, Paul George is one of my favorite players to ever watch in basketball, and even watching him on the Clippers this season has been I've been wanting to blow my own mind. Like, it's disgusting.
Well, I feel like the problem with this Clippers team is like they just don't have a leader. Like who's the leader on that team? Who's the guy that they look to when they need to right the ship? Like Kawhi certainly isn't that. He's never been a vocal
Well,
guy.
Kawhi is a quiet leader, though.
Yeah, I
He's
mean,
not
but
a leader.
doesn't-
Lowry was the leader in the Toronto team, right?
yeah, it doesn't seem like it though. Like
No, Kawhi is not a leader.
who's
Yeah,
who on this team is going to put James Harden in
not
his
Paul
place? Like
George.
nobody.
George isn't the
Nobody's
leader.
gonna put James Harden in his place. Ty Lue's not gonna do that. Like that's
It's
just
hard-
I think
I mean,
that's
it
just
has to be
disappointing for me.
Russ.
It's three
Like
guys doing whatever they want.
local leader
Yeah,
would be Russ. Yeah, it's so ugly, man. I can't believe I have to watch Clippers basketball because my favorite player is there.
They're doing them so dirty, man. Aaron, what did you want to say? You had something you wanted to say?
Yeah, I know. All I wanted to say was it's a disservice to basketball that they're doing when they have two of the best playmakers of all time on that team and they're at 23rd in assists per game. Like, how do you let that happen? I get you have two of the best ISO scorers of their generation, but that's not clearly amounting to winning basketball. And this roster was also so bad, like they just lucked out that Daniel Tice was available on waivers and that he chose them, because
Mm.
that whole 4 out of 5 winning period that has happened is when he was on the roster. Like, before that they were struggling.
You know,
He's a good rim. I'm not saying he's single-handedly changing their fortunes, but he adds some depth to a team that was just gutted in that trade, right? Like, they they traded all their depth for one guy who's not even buying into their scheme, at least on offense.
yeah, shout out to Daniel Tice, man. They're 4-1 in the Daniel Tice era.
What a world we
Exactly.
live in, man. Jeez. All right.
Bro, I already missed the pre-James Harden 2023 to 2024 Clippers.
Yeah, it was a fun
Like,
little stretch of the season.
it was so fun. I was enjoying basketball, that's for sure.
I kind of want to touch on Aaron's point though about the players they traded, because it's for me it didn't make sense that they gave up all wings. Like you gave up Batum, you gave up Covington. Like those are guys who can probably help them right now, right? And they
Yeah.
instead they traded those guys over, I don't know, someone like Norman Powell, who I don't know what his role is on this Clippers team. Like he's pretty redundant to what Harden brings. He's pretty redundant to what Russ brings. Those guys can score the ball. So I don't know what else. Like there's a big overlap of what he brings to the table over maybe someone like Nicholas Batum can bring, or someone like Robert Covington can bring.
Yeah,
I
like
mean,
Batum's been playing
Norm.
decently for the
Yeah,
Sixers so far. Go ahead, Aaron.
Yeah.
yeah. No, like Norman's the only reliable shooter on that team.
Yeah, like he is definitely a piece you
But
need.
yeah,
Like I think that like you need someone you can at least like kick it out to when the ISO possession doesn't work, right? But like, what the hell's Terrence Mann still doing here?
See, that's another guy.
He was
Like
untouchable for what? For
he
what, bro? He's
he would
shooting
have been
13.
perfect in
He's shooting
Philadelphia.
13% from three,
Eh,
bro. What are we doing here? He's untouchable.
I really just don't want to. I don't want to go too much on Terrence Mann because he kind of does all the little things that you want in a role player.
I don't need little things. I need someone that's gonna hit
I
the
know. I'm
bucket
just saying
from
he
deep.
should absolutely not be untouchable. But like while he's on the roster right now, I don't think he's any at all like to blame.
He's just some
For what
guy, man. Like Bones, bro. What are
he's
you
a
doing?
good role player. Terrence Mann's a good role
He's a
player.
good role player. Doesn't mean you should be untouchable.
Yeah, definitely not.
Jesus Christ.
And Bones is rotting in the bench, not even sniffing the court.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't know. I'd rather have some guy that doesn't shoot 13% from three at the end of the day. You know? Like if I have all these ISO players, I think that every once in a while they might need someone to kick it out to. And I don't want that to be Terrence Mann. Thanks, buddy.
yeah,
I'm good.
should be Bones or Norm.
Yeah. Should be Nick Batum.
Yeah, Nick Batum.
It's
Honestly,
ridiculous.
this is like the perfect example of why you shouldn't always just go for star power.
Just,
Like it doesn't work in the NBA anymore. Like you don't go for star power, you go for the roster depth.
it's
And
ridiculous.
they really just didn't need to trade Harden for
okay.
Harden. Like they didn't need him at all.
To be fair,
If they did,
Nick
if
Batum
if the
in
Yeah,
if the
he's been a lot better since he got to Philly.
yeah,
what about Rocco?
Yeah.
Rocco was nice.
But like what? Like
It's 3 games, man. It's 3 games.
he was a 39% like shooter like last season, right? Like 40% in the 2 years prior, right? Like
yeah.
I'll take that. I'll take like a proven track record over like 28% over 3 games. Like dog. No, I don't even like Batum. He doesn't bring
No,
me
but
like,
when you look at
I just
Terrence Mann's field goal, it was Terrence Mann wasn't this bad before. It's just he's been atrocious this season.
untouchable
In,
though.
look, in Terrence Mann's defense, James Harden just decides to kick it out to him in the last seconds of the possession, and Terrence Mann has to chuck up a contested jump shot, which
Yeah.
obviously is not doing him any favors for his field goal percentage.
I hate the Clippers, man.
What the hell, bro?
That's the
Like
problem,
Harden,
man.
at least you take the shot. Don't kick it out to Terrence Mann.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? James Harden, bro, you're such a fraud. I'm so tired of this guy.
This guy's passionate about his Clippers, man.
Never gonna win anything, bro.
All right.
Sadly, Russ.
I hate
Okay,
to take this away,
yeah,
but we gotta get going. Mike, buddy, what's your biggest disappointment of the year?
yeah.
Again. Well, what else could it be like for me? With my Golden State Warriors.
Cook.
After a promising 5-1 start to the season, the Warriors are now 8-9 and have dropped to 10th in the Western Conference. What happened to the vibes? I thought Chris Paul was the game changer. but he's not.
Who would have thought?
Well, at least for the last like 10 games, maybe. Yeah, I mean, with Clay, I don't know what else we expect from Clay at this point, or even from last season. Andrew Wiggins, save for that Thunder game, just hasn't found his rhythm at all. Overall, the starters have been just bad. They haven't looked good. Obviously, Draymond Green's missed some time to begin the year, then obviously the 5 game suspension. So the starting unit just hasn't played as much, but when they played, it's a far cry from what they looked like last season. Last season, this was the best 5-man unit in the NBA. So they had a 21.9 net rating last year. This year, that's down to a minus 14.4. In the 7 games they played this season, their point differential is minus 21. Last year, they were plus 145. So a lot of that has to do with Wiggins just being an absolute.
This guy, man.
This
I mean,
Wiggins game.
it just looks bad. Like his drop off offensively is just sad to see at this point. Klay Thompson, the shot chucker, not doing them any favors. Um, the second unit was, it was the second unit was supposed to be better, and it actually is, but it's kind of dropped off a little bit over these last couple of weeks. But yeah, I mean, it's just been a disappointing season. Like they're 10th right now. I don't know who they're gonna supplant in the top 8 or whatever. Maybe the Rockets are probably gonna drop off, but yeah, overall disappointing team. Steve Kerr, I don't know what you were doing like during the Suns game. You had your guys coming back. No other coach in the league would leave out Steph Curry. At least put your guy in the game, your franchise superstar in the game. Like you, I mean, I get you want to reward the guys who are playing well, but I mean, I'd rather have Steph Curry in there over Corey Joseph. Like,
Yeah.
what are
No.
what are we doing?
I'm good.
Yeah, Mike and I were hanging out the other day, and I had to ask him like, why the hell did Steve Kerr not play like the starters, or at least with Steph Curry in a winnable game, like
I
in the fourth?
guarantee you, no other coach would do that.
I didn't
Probably
watch
other
the
than
game.
other than
I was
Pop.
I was looking at the box scores on the NBA app, and the starters were just never came in the final, in the fourth quarter. Like I didn't understand it. Like Steve Kerr, what are you doing? That's another fraud coach. Tyronn Lue, Steve Kerr, what the hell, guys? What are you doing
Two
here?
game, there are 2 games this week between them.
Hot seat. Put them in the hottest seats in the NBA coaching hot seat tier list. Put them in right now. These two are gonna be jobless.
He's gonna be delivering my Uber Eats soon.
That brother should be delivering my DoorDash.
Yeah, no, they've been bad, dude. It's just like the
Bro,
stat
how do
that
you
was
not
like,
put Steph Curry in, man?
yeah, dude. It's so disappointing that they're just not doing anything to help him. I don't get it. Like I understand. Again, I think we touched on this last week, but like again, I understand that you want to keep the band together. It's always heartbreaking when like such a super group gets split up. But one of those players is still a top 10 player, top 5 player in the league. The rest of them are scrubs. And like you make a deal to bring in another washed player. in Chris Paul that doesn't fit your scheme to lead your bench unit? Like, this is who you're paying like 30 mil to? What are you doing? I don't get that. Like, you can flip him at the deadline, there's no doubt, but this hasn't been an organization that is like actually making like good moves in the middle of the season to supplant Stephen Curry. Like, what deal did they make last year? They sent away James Wiseman to bring in who? Like, who'd they end up with last year within that Wiseman trade?
They
Gary
brought
Payton.
back GP.
Yeah.
Yeah, GP, like, he's good, but like he's not moving the needle. He's not bringing you a ring.
No.
He's not helping Steph Curry. Like, you need to make a real move for a player. Like, there's probably going to be a fair amount of them, right? Like, if the Raps continue to be mid, then like who knows? Maybe Siakam's on the market or OG Anunoby, right? And like these are legitimate players that you should be looking into bringing in. The Grizzlies seem to be completely out of sorts this year. It's over. I mean, Jacob Gilliard, a 5'9" player, is starting at point guard. What are we doing here? Their season's done. They're not catching back up. I don't care who you bring back. It's done. Maybe you could bring in a guy like, I don't know, Jaren Jackson Jr. if they actually do intend to blow it up, right? Like,
Bring in Desmond Bain, man.
stop this. Yeah, I mean, maybe he did just sign a massive extension, so have fun with that money. But point being, like, this hasn't been an organization really willing to make those moves at the deadline. Maybe bringing in a guy like Dunleavy changes things. Hopefully, because
I think he's more willing to take these risks.
yeah,
Mike Dunleavy is.
he doesn't
Like,
have the attachment to the old guard.
yeah, I mean I think that's the reason why what's his name?
Bob Myers.
Bob Myers, yeah. I think that's the reason why Bob Myers left, because he didn't want to be responsible for breaking up the big three. But I don't know, who knows if there's some deal that Dunleavy does down the line that finally moves on from this and gives Golden State, or Steph Curry, another shot at the ring.
Yeah, because he's your franchise, right? The second you took him, he's your franchise. Like, you need to win with him because,
Yeah.
like, obviously he's not showing signs of slowing down, right? Like, he's still incredible. He's still absolutely mind-boggling, but you don't waste this.
This is another 35-year-old who's just playing at the highest level still.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, the two timeline just doesn't work. Like, dude, who cares about the two timeline when after Steph Curry's gone, this team is not going to be contending for titles.
No.
Like, dude, if you think Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, and Jordan Poole are gonna be your next franchise guys, like, I'm glad they finally embraced it, but I mean, like, finally embraced, trading Jordan Poole when they had to. But there's still guys out there who you can get to maximize Stephen Curry's prime, because after he's gone, there's no way this team is contending ever again for like the next 10 years.
Yeah. Enjoy it while it lasts, man.
I'm really disappointed about Kuminga, man. I actually was really high on Kuminga, and I thought this would really be his breakout year, but
he's been good. He's been all right.
I mean, yeah, he's been solid.
Like, he's been all right. I just don't think he's gonna be as good as like how I thought he would be.
He'll be a good trade piece at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Obviously, Steve Kerr isn't doing him any favors because he's allergic to big men. So.
Yeah. All right.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah. I guess it's my turn.
No. Wait. I want to transition into mine because
you just did yours, did you not?
No. What are you talking about?
Oh.
We didn't do me. It's just that Aaron talked about the Clippers, so I had to go in on them too because I absolutely hate that team.
Oh, I figured oh my god. Oh, dude, we are way over time.
We don't have to go too much into mine. Mine is just Jordan Poole because Mike mentioned him. I just want to go into Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole is awful. Jordan Poole is not good. Like, this guy is not a serious basketball player. Like ever since he joined Washington, like what he said, this is his team now, and look at it now. It's this franchise is a joke because Jordan Poole thinks he's running it. Jordan Poole thinks he's the guy on this franchise. Kuz is so much better than Jordan Poole. Poole just it's like all flash, and no material. Like nothing is going on. He's playing awful basketball. There's like a low light reel that you can look up for Jordan Poole and the Washington Wizards, and it's embarrassing. It's actually embarrassing. Did you see? Did y'all saw the backboard, the back of the backboard pass to Kuz us for the dunk? They were down like 20.
They're
Like
goofy.
what are you? This is a joke. Like celebrities, like baddies on the court side can't even save Jordan Poole anymore. That's a myth. That doesn't exist. Jordan Poole sucks. He's not a good basketball player. He has the skills and the talent to be a good basketball player, but he just doesn't take it seriously. Ever since he won the championship in Golden State, like he doesn't care anymore. He's all about the bag, and that's it. He's not a serious basketball player, and the Wizards are definitely going to move on from him. But they're not a serious franchise either. So who the hell knows?
Yeah, I think it's pretty firmly established that he's not a piece for the Wizards.
Yeah.
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 Like
what has he learned, man? What has he learned?
Oh, I mean
he spent like three years in that franchise under the tutelage of Steph Curry, and you have not learned a single thing about playing winning basketball.
Yeah.
He had this great quote.
Well,
he had this great quote today where he said it's really cool being on top of the opposing team's scouting reports. He says, I've seen a lot of coverages, a lot of different coverages. It's honestly really cool. It just makes you learn as a player. See, he's learning. He's growing.
Yeah, dude.
You don't appreciate that?
He's on the top of the scouting list because it just says let him shoot. If he has the ball, let him do whatever.
Better than Jordan Poole. It's
let
not
him cook. Let him cook. He looks foolish, anyways.
So what do you?
Jordan Poole was trying to like roll the ball out, and then like, did you see that clip where Jordan Poole was rolling the ball out, and he thought it would stop that it would stop the clock.
He's so
the clock kept going, and he was like,
"That's a professional basketball player, man."
Unethical. The most unethical of hoopers.
Washington Wizards are just funny to watch, man. I thought Jordan Poole would be the next coming of James Harden. This is why I'm so disappointed. I'm exaggerating a little bit. I'll be honest,
ways, man.
I'm exaggerating. But I thought he'd be averaging like 30 this year.
Yeah.
I could confidently say before the season, Jordan Poole is going to average 30. He's probably not going to be efficiently, but he'll average 30. He'll get his points. Yeah. No, he's not getting his points.
Dog,
he puts up stinkers where he's like 1 of 13, 2 of 15. Like, what is he doing?
Right, Aaron,
both him and Harden need to be in China.
Yeah, let them focus on their games for a bit, man.
Okay, let's move on. Let's move on. Kai, just go crazy.
Sorry, man. I didn't mean to rush you. My bad. I didn't even take in you hadn't gone.
No, it's okay.
I'm just really passionate about the Clippers. I was like, oh, that must have been Diego's point.
No, it's okay.
Yeah. All right. Staying on the theme of garbage squads. I'm really, really disappointed by the San Antonio Spurs and Detroit Pistons. Now, look, I didn't expect them to be good. I don't think anybody on this podcast is like, oh, yeah, like, they could make some noise in their respective conferences. Like, no, they were going to suck. But to this level is absolutely mind-boggling, right? Like, what kind of culture are you creating in both of these environments with both teams have first overall picks on their squad, right? Like, Detroit, first of all, you know what's hilarious? Detroit's in the middle of a 13-game losing streak after starting 2-1 this season. And they're still only 14th in the East because Washington is behind them still. Horrendous. Awful team. But yeah, they're in the middle of a 13-game losing streak, and San Antonio's in the middle of a 12-game losing streak. And it's just like, what are you creating in both of these teams? Like, what are you teaching these players? How are they developing? It's just such a blatant misunderstanding of how to use both of these players that could clearly be superstars, right? That should be taking this time to develop. But instead, the only thing you're developing is this crappy mentality and an absolute permanent frown on their faces. Like, neither of these guys look happy. Cade Cunningham is broken, bro. He's broken. There is nothing that he's enjoying about this team. This is ugly, dude. He played for Oklahoma State University. That ain't no basketball team. Somehow these guys are worse. Like, it's just so demoralizing. Like, why is Killian Hayes playing, bro? Why? What are they doing?
Finally, you said it.
Why is he playing, bro?
Killian Hayes.
What are they doing? I like Jalen Duren. He's great. What the hell's James Wiseman doing out there? What's Marvin Bagley doing out there? What's Kevin Knox doing out there? Who are these bums, dude? Like, what are you doing to Cade, man? Get him out. I saw him talking to Scotty after the Raptors slaughtered them. I've never seen the Raptors be that good at basketball. The Raptors set 2 franchise records in that game. The most points scored at home with 144 and 142 and the most assists the team has ever put out in a single game with 44. You let the Raptors do that to you, bro? This team sucks. The Raptors aren't good. Our offense is bad. You let them do that to you, man. It's embarrassing. And I saw Kate talking to Scotty after the game, and all I could think is, please save him, bro. Get him out of this team. Get him out of Detroit. It's just, you're wasting it. You're not developing them. He doesn't look that much better than he looked in his first season because, I mean, obviously he had the second year off dealing with injury, but like, it doesn't get better if you don't at least try. And then in San Antonio, my God, Pop, buddy, what's going on? What are you thinking? What's this Sohan point guard thing? Can we get off this? This guy sucks. I like Jeremy Sohan. Don't get me wrong, bro. He's fun.
He's not a point guard.
He is not a point guard. He is not a point guard. Look, Wembanyama, when Sohan plays, right? 26.5 points per 100 possessions on 47.5 true shooting. When Wembanyama plays without Sohan, he's scoring 35.9 points per 100 on 59.4 true shooting. Like, what are you doing, man? He's so much worse with Sohan. I don't get it, dude. Like, the game against Denver that they played last night, it's such a blatant tank job. But, like, we need to calm down. Like, you're tanking too hard. That's 12 losses in a row. But yeah, so last night against Denver, the Spurs were outscoring the Nuggets by 13 points during Trey Jones's minutes. Right? They were cooking. Trey Jones is a real point guard. And then in the second half, the Nuggets outscored the Spurs by 14 points in Jeremy Sohan's minutes and by 25 points when Jones was off the floor. Right? Like, it's clear what's working with this team. It's Jones and Wembanyama. And it's not Sohan at point, right? Like, the amount of possessions that we see in transition sometimes, because this is a fun transition team, the amount of possessions in transition that I've seen Sohan catch an outlet pass and then pass it to not Victor Wembanyama, who's running the floor, is mind-boggling. Like, he'll kick it out to the corner, and then whoever's in the corner is like, wait, bro, what are you doing? Throws it to Wembanyama, who's in the lane, because it's the easiest dunk he's going to get. And he doesn't make that read. Like, this guy should not be dictating how this offense is moving around Victor Wembanyama, because he is special. He's been inefficient, but my God, I haven't seen a single thing from Victor Wembanyama that doesn't tell me that this guy's the future of the league. And they're wasting it. They are wasting it. They could be so much more this year because of how good he's been. And they just don't play through him properly. They're not giving him a chance to succeed. What a waste. I'm extremely disappointed by that. Like it
Right.
breaks my heart that these great players are just being wasted.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree
Yeah,
more.
I mean,
Me saying that Holmgren is running away with Rookie of the Year is no knock on Victor Wembanyama, because I don't think some people realize that if Victor Wembanyama had a real point guard and not Jeremy Sohan as your point guard running plays for Wemby, like Wemby would be so much better than what he is right now. This Rookie of the Year race would actually be really tight. Like in no world am I saying Chet is running away with Rookie of the Year if Wembanyama had a real point guard on this team, but they just don't.
Yeah. Thing is, they do. They
Oh yeah,
do
they have
have a
Trey
real
Jones.
point guard.
You know,
They
but
do.
their tank job is so obvious
It's
that they
gross.
refuse. They refuse to put Trey Jones as the point guard, as the
Dude.
primary playmaker of the team.
Yeah, when Trey Jones and Wemby play
But
together, they've played 167 minutes together. They have an offensive rating of 113, which is tied for 12th best in the league. When Sohan and Wemby play together, which they've done for 283 minutes, they have a 96.2 offensive rating, which is the worst in the NBA by a wide margin. It's vicious. Like they do have a point guard. They could be making Wembanyama succeed. They're not.
Kiss that Rookie of the Year trophy goodbye, Wemby. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
bro, it's almost like there's a directive from the front office for Sohan not to find Wemby on these easy passes. Like the Spurs commentators are already pointing out, oh, they're saying, oh, there he is, but Sohan just doesn't. It seems like he's blatantly ignoring Wembanyama on these easy baskets. Then I don't know if it's a directive from the front office, but it's just so blatant what they're doing out there. And I mean, if this 12-game winning streak isn't enough proof that this isn't gonna work, then what else could they do? Like what they should just make the change as soon as they can, because it's obviously not working the way that Sohan and Wemby are just not connecting together as a duo.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what you do with this team, man. Because like it's not a good class coming up. But I mean, like, look, you've got Wembanyama, right? Like you can figure it out. It's just that this year is just in the gutter, and it's just an ugly look. It's a really ugly look because, like, Pop, you're better than this, bro.
Yeah, I mean,
Someone some of the organization has Pop hostage to make sure he tanks. That's the only way, because
yeah, I feel like
no
it
way
too.
Pop is no way Pop is just doing this.
Yeah, I feel like
It's
there's
always
someone in the higher ups asking for this to happen.
yeah.
Yeah, it's too bad. Breaks my heart. He's
Man,
so good, man.
will be fine. The Spurs will be fine.
Dog,
Yeah,
imagine him on like the Rockets, eh?
no mention of the Rockets.
Imagine
Shout out
Wemby on the Rockets.
Shout out to Rockets. Shout out to Dylan Brooks
Too bad.
for being incredible defensively, and whenever he's on the team, like their defense is just one of the best in the league.
You know how
So,
sick he? I'm just saying, like, you know how sick Wembanyama would be in Houston.
I don't want to see him in Houston though. I don't want to see that franchise winning. I'm sorry.
Too bad, bro. What I mean, good, whatever.
But Jeff Green's not gonna be on there
yeah,
when Wembanyama's there, right?
Oh yeah, that would suck, man. That's
Yeah, they come on. You
that's
can't
the
lose the role
that's the
players, man.
LeBron of role players, man. Crazy. All right. Anything else before we go? Like, did you guys want to add anything onto that, or are we good, Aaron?
no, I don't know. We've said enough. I don't think we should give these bum teams any more time.
Okay, that's fine by me. Well, boys, it's been fun. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Positionless Pod. I'm your host, Kai Gamage, and once again, signing off for the most wonderful, young, versatile, talented, positionless minds in the basketball media landscape today, Aaron Matthew, Diego San Agustin, and Michael Anthony Cruz. I'm Kai Gamage, and boys, it's been a slice.
Yeah.